globalization and localization is not a problem that we're talking about enough. Obviously, um, you said that as a young person, like the environmental conversation was about litter. Now it's about ice cap melting, forest fires, tornadoes, like blah 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 blah. Oh, like deforestation. It's like
Huge
the
things.
typical huge
Yeah.
things. But then there are also like smaller things, like what you're doing with the insulation, what the Tire Collective
Yeah.
is doing with microplastics in tire wear. Um, like there are all these small conversations that people don't see, and there are students, like we've consulted some students before, and they said that some schools are actually like not promoting sustainable jobs, like disincentivizing people to go into these jobs just because they say it's like low pay or like it's not useful. um Even though I think climate change as being more and more apparent, um it's still hard to convince someone to care. Like if you ask a student, do you care about climate change? Oh yeah, of course I care about climate change. I know it exists. But then what do you do about it? Like there's not a lot of there is a lot of talk about it, but then not everyone is going to say how they're going to act on it. Like not everyone's going to
Mm,
act on it. What do you
yeah.
think the problem is? Like why do not as many people want to act on it? And then what can we do about that?
Yeah. I think people probably just don't know how. And this was what became really obvious in my education as well. Like undergrad versus masters. Undergrad, I learnt the basics and the fundamentals of architecture and the skills, right? Really, really helpful, good foundation. Again, like we can't throw the traditional careers in the bin. We actually need them. But then coming into my masters and then my following career, it's utilizing those skills to address the current problem, which is the environmental issue. So I'll give you an example. Say if you were to study medicine and you want to become a medical doctor, a lot of your patients are going to be impacted by the climate crisis. So, for example, public health with regards to air pollution, there's growing issues of diseases in poor indoor air quality. Children are being diagnosed with asthma and other illnesses. The elderly are also heavily impacted as well. And this is a direct consequence of climate change. So you can utilize your skills and your knowledge as a medical practitioner and directly impact and influence whether it be policy or the way we administer healthcare or creating a more robust healthcare system that is actually climate resilient and addressing the incoming and new challenges caused by environmental degradation. That's your connection, that's your way in right there. So we still need those traditional professions, we still need those skill sets and knowledge, but we need to apply it to the pressing issues right now, which is the environment. Because there's so many challenges. We need transport to be climate resilient, we need housing to be climate resilient, we need healthcare to be climate resilient, food systems to be climate resilient, our economy as well. We can't just go business as usual. So I would say take an interest in the environment, see it as the incoming challenge, today's challenge, and apply and utilize your professional careers to confront that challenge. To me, it's not an either or. It's a it's a synthesis of the both of the two. Yeah.
Absolutely. We talked a lot about different pieces of advice, like you said, connecting with community, finding your link to sustainability, whatever field you're in. But if there was one piece of advice, like other than the things that you said so far, if there was one piece of advice that you want to give to a secondary student who's trying to enter the sustainability space, what would that be?
Um, be curious. Read a lot. Um, touch grass.
Yeah.
And also understand that you can't solve the world's problems. It may feel like a heavy burden you just especially when you're researching some of the larger issues like deforestation or plastics in our ocean, etc., etc. It can feel very overwhelming, and like don't worry, you're not the savior of the world. You're not going to come and fix all of society's ills, but you can apply again your passion and your interest into and feed that into envisioning and moving towards a sustainable future. So yeah, just be curious, find your interests, and understand this as a much larger issue, and what realm and what space could you operate in, and also collaborate as well. Find who also shares your interest, but maybe has a different skill set, and a different knowledge base from you, and collaborate with them. I wouldn't have the team I have today had I not been open to collaborating with non-architects. You know, so there's real strength in diversity of skills and knowledge. So yeah, find your tribe, but don't let it be so monolithic.